Good morning. Hey, students. Today we are going to move on to editing your writing. Last week we did some revising and I talked about what you should be looking for in revising. An example of that would be with the fanboys that we talked about. And fanboys is where you need to add that comma when you have two separate things that come together in one sentence. Make sure there's comma in the middle so that we remember to take that breath and pause. The other thing we talked about on Friday was creating suspense by writing shorter sentences, chopping up your sentences to make it go faster and suspenseful. On the opposite line, if you want to slow down the movement, you write a longer sentence. Today, I want to talk to you about how writers can use lenses in their writing to study things for them to work on, such as editing. So take a minute right now. I want to talk about, I'm talking about lenses, and that's putting on different lenses, putting on different glasses to think about something differently. I want you to take a second, look around the library. What are some things that you notice? Some of you might have noticed the chairs, the books, the students, the people, the windows, the walls, the floor, the plugins, the computers. There's lots of different things around, lots of different stimulus. Now, I want you to think a little differently and put on a lens of literature and books. What are some things that you see around the library related just to literature and books? Some of you might notice obviously the books, but also the bookshelves and the labels on the bookshelves titled with biography, nonfiction. You might also see the posters on the wall that show different styles of books, different graphic novels. You might notice bookmarks. You're looking specifically for things related to literature, and that's what your eyes are going towards. Now take one last look around and look for different furniture pieces. Now this one, with this lens, you might notice the chairs, the tables, the beanbag chairs, those stabilizing stools that are in the front of the space, the librarian's rolly chair. Those types of things are what you're noticing because you're only focusing on the furniture. Now I want you to think about your paper and your writing. When editing, it's sometimes easier to just look and think about one specific thing as you read through it. And that's why I had you write down this list of things that are going to help you with editing your paper if you try on each of those lenses as you read through. I want you to read through your paper a few times. The first time would be looking at just spelling. Spelling is super important to also clarify what you mean. If you misspell the word new, like you write, I have a new sweater, but you spell it Knew, that can be confusing to the reader. Knew has a different meaning. It sounds the same, but it's different. That is called a homophone. I'm going to give each of you one of these sheets, and this is what every 7th grade student is going to get with their paper back with any grammar issues. So grammar is worth 30% of your grade for this paper. And if there's anything like misspelling, that's going to be the first one. If there's any misspelled words, I'm going to write the number 1 next to it. And then you are going to, on a separate piece of paper, write out that word. For spelling is a little different. You just have to write the word correctly 10 times. The next time, the next things that I'm looking for, you don't have to write them out 10 times. You just have to correct the sentence and write the rules out. And the rules are spelled out on here, so you just have to copy what I wrote here. With the next lens you choose, I want you to look at commas. Where do you need a comma? If you're reading your story and you take a pause or a breath in the middle of a sentence, then it means one of two things. You either need to place a period and divide the sentence, or you need a comma to separate the thoughts that are happening in that sentence. Otherwise, it's a run-on sentence, and it's really hard for a reader, again, to read lots of run-on sentences. They don't know when to breathe, when to pause, to take a break. Our brains need a break. We can't just continue to read without taking a pause or a breath. Next, I'm looking at sentence fragments. This is what I've been working with a lot with you guys. So I'm looking at complete sentences with a subject and a verb, and also capitalization. Go through in your paper with just the lens of, okay, are all of the first word in my sentence capitalized? Make sure you have that so that you don't have to rewrite that sentence. I don't want you guys to be doing a lot of work with this. I want you to go through this today and work on going through these different lenses. And then the end punctuation. If it was a question mark, did you put a question mark or did you just put a period in? Next one is run-on sentences, I talked about already. And the last one is dialogue rules. When you're writing dialogue, which there should be some dialogue in your story, you need to follow these rules. The quotes go before and after the words spoken, and missing punctuation, or you should have punctuation inside of your quotation marks, and the first word in a quote must be capitalized. New speaker means new paragraph. I have a couple of really great examples of this from papers I just grabbed. Here, Avery has some dialogue that works really well in here. If you notice, she wrote right here, asked Ava, right here. It says, I guess, comma, Elsa said, period. So the punctuation is inside of the quotes, and she has it punctuated correctly. What she does need to do is just give this a return, so it's a new paragraph. You need a new paragraph every time somebody new is speaking, and that may make your paper look a lot longer because there might be just a few words when people are talking. That's okay. Here's a good example of someone who puts a new paragraph every time someone new is writing. Caroline made sure that somebody new is talking, so she put a new paragraph. The one thing she needs to work on now is the punctuation inside of the quotes, and then also labeling who is the one that was talking. Let me know that. You will get one of these. Make sure you go through it thoroughly. If you have any questions, let me know. Today and tomorrow are your days to really go through and edit your papers. If you have any questions, let me know, and have fun. Good luck.